version and the minus version. Here with these arrows, this is how we set it up. If there's two solutions, we do a plus square root of the discriminant all over 2a, and then the minus version. This just shows you, if you have a positive discriminant, 2 solutions, 0 discriminant, 1, and if you get a negative discriminant, it means it does not cross. So in problem number 1, how many solutions will this equation have? And then solve using square root. So square root is just an undo step. So this should be solving like normal. We're going to minus 20 on both sides. Use the calculator if you need to. 3x squared equals negative 10. Now, I personally do not like decimals. I don't like repeating decimals. So I'm just going to keep this as a fraction. If you choose to, that's fine. It does not matter. You're going to get the same answer. Now, we have the square. To undo a square, it's a square root. Now, this should be a red flag because the discriminant is negative. But in case you don't notice, you put this into the calculator will say undefined. That does not mean it's undefined. It just kind of like signifies that you're going to have no real solutions. Okay? And then also you can check on slide number 3. It's because we had a negative 10 over 3 here. So that's why we have no real roots. All right, we have negative 2x squared equals negative 18. We're going to divide by negative 2 on both sides. And now we're going to have a 9. Because negative 18 divided by negative 2 is 9. Undo square root. To undo squaring, it's square root. So your calculator is going to give you 3. But once again, we have a positive 9. We have a positive number. That means we're going to have 2 answers. How do we know what those answers are? The calculator will give you the plus version. You need to know that there's also a negative version. So x equals 3 and x equals negative 3. Alright, in this problem we have a 2-step. We have 6x squared equals 4. So we want to divide by 6. Once again, I like to keep it as our fraction, especially since you're going to get a repeating decimal here. Take the square root, and then this is where you involve the calculator. So the square root of 4 over 6 is going to be, and you can round it, 0.82 plus version minus version. You're going to have 2 answers if your discriminant is positive. So let's scroll down. And there you go. We have 2 real solutions. All right, for this one, it's just a multi-step. So we have to undo adding first. We have an adding 3. So to undo adding, we're going to minus 3 on both sides. So then we have negative 4x squared equals negative 100. Divide by negative 4 on both sides. We have x squared. Please do not leave it as this. X squared equals 25. We have to divide, not divide, we already did. We have to take the square root. And if you do the square root in the calculator will only tell you 5. But it is also the minus version. It is also negative 5 for the x value. So you're going to have 2 answers. You can also look right at the discriminant right away. Since 25 is positive, that's how we're going to get 2 solutions. The only time you get 1 solution is if the discriminant, the number that I just circled, is 0. Alright, in this problem, you do not have to actually do the whole quadratic formula. You just need to do the discriminant. Now, even though the discriminant up above does not have parentheses, I really, really recommend you having the parentheses all the time. So a lot of you guys are good with the parentheses around the A and the C, but then you forget about the parentheses to the B. So parentheses not only mean multiplying, but they also are important when you need to wrap up a negative. Okay, if you don't use parentheses around the B, half of the time the calculator will do it wrong. So here your A value is 6, B value is 8, C value is 13. So once again, just get in the habit of using parentheses. So it's going to be B squared minus 4, comes from the formula. And then your A value, which is 6, and then your C value, which is 13. Now, put all of this into the calculator, and you're going to get a negative number. Now, a lot of you guys are fearful that you're not showing enough work or you want to do the quadratic formula, but this is where you stop. It says use the discriminant, okay? Since the discriminant says it's negative, the answer is no real solutions. Now, if it says solve using the quadratic formula, then you have to keep going. So make sure that you're reading the directions tomorrow for the assessment. Same thing for here. This is one that you will get wrong if you don't use parentheses. So I like to put the parentheses, visualize. Some students even like to copy and paste and then fill in. They know their B value is negative 7. And then their A value is 2. And then the C value is 3. Let the calculator do the work. This is going to be the correct answer. It's going to get you a positive 25. Now, if you choose not to listen to what we're saying and you're going to use no parentheses, you're going to get the wrong answer. You're going to get the wrong work and you're going to get the wrong answer. So this part is wrong. So please make sure that you do that. So we're going to get equals 25. The discriminant is a positive number, so this means 2 real solutions. You do not need to go any further. This is going to be your answer. Now for the next problem, we're actually going to do the whole quadratic formula. So our A equals 4, our B equals negative 6, and this is where you have to be careful. If you do not use parentheses, you're going to do the whole process incorrectly. So my B squared is negative 6 squared minus 4 times our A times our C. This is going to be our discriminant. So just put this into the calculator, and we're going to get 4. So since this is a positive number, I know moving forward, I'm going to have to do the whole quadratic formula. I'm going to have to do adding and subtracting because I'm going to get 2 answers. Alright, from here, the opposite of B, so I'm on the 3rd step. Sorry, I tend not to do this. Alright, parentheses for sure. Actually, I'm going to do the division bar first, so everything is in the numerator that I need to be. And then the plus, SQRT, I got the discriminant, which is positive. And then 2 times 4. So this is what I'm going to put in. I'm going to get a 1. And then I'm going to copy and paste as well, and then instead of a plus, I'm going to put a minus. So the second part of the quadratic formula is going to get me a decimal, which is totally cool. It can intersect at the x-axis in any position, any place. Alright, so my I have two real answers. One of them is 1 and then the other is 0.5. So even though they're very close together, just put a point and then do your best to draw a U and a parabola pointing upwards. And I know it's pointing upwards because my A value is a positive 4. Alright, some extra practice to get you situated for tomorrow or for the assessment. A is 9, B is -3, C is 2. Alright, all we're doing is plugging and chugging. So if you don't use parentheses, the calculator will do your work wrong. So just go through the extra step and actually put a parenthesis for every number you plug in. Not just the 9 and the 2. The -3 needs a parenthesis. Once again, I will prove it to you. If you choose not to use parentheses, it's going to get you a different answer. It's going to get you -81. We don't want that. We need to use parentheses. We want the discriminant to be -63. Now, if you realize that it stops here and it's really no solution, awesome. If you don't, that's okay. I actually forgot to put the division bar first, so I'm going to go back. And I'm going to put my whole top in parentheses. Make sure your cursor is on the outside of the square root. And then 2 times 9. Now you're going to notice something. If you didn't notice it earlier, you're going to notice it now. This is no real solutions. Please do not put undefined. It is not undefined. That is just your calculator saying, I can't calculate that. I cannot do imaginary numbers. So it's no real solution. All right. And then lastly, we have our A value is -1, our B value is -6, our C value is -9. So let's do the discriminant. -4, especially with all these negatives. Make sure that you're taking your time and typing them correctly. We use the calculator. My calculator says my discriminant is 0. So that means I'm going to only get one answer. And let's prove that. Let's do the quadratic formula. What is that one answer going to be? The opposite of -6 plus the square root of 0. And once again, I forgot to put the parentheses all over 2 times -1. If I put this in, I'm going to get -3. Now, this is the cool thing. If I copy and paste it, maybe I say it's cool because I'm just the math teacher, I'm going to get -3. That doesn't mean I have 2 numbers that are -3. It means it's the same. So you only really write it once. It only intersects at -3. So you're going to go here, and your A value is actually -1 this time, so it's going to be upside down. And then this reminded me that I actually skipped this graph, my bad. So no real solutions. It means it can't touch this at all. And it's a positive because my A is a 9, a positive 9. So a graph like this would be fine. All right, now, why there are so many slides? It's because if you wanted practice with a blank screen that has no coding, you can do that, okay? So this is just extra practice. Like if you were in a classroom and you came to me and said, can I please have a worksheet that's blank so I can work on it my own? That's all this is.